Very few anime have original premises, and even less have the ability to create an in-depth and immersive reality, but that's exactly what 2017's Made in Abyss excels in, a show so well crafted in its world building and lore that almost everything about it is brimming with life. To put simply, Made in Abyss captured many people's attention by its sense of wonder and adventure. Through its intricate and captivating world building, a mystery was born. What lies in the depths of the abyss? This is the fundamental question that every character in the series strives to answer. The abyss is a mysterious place that humans have yet to fully explore, filled with interesting relics, beautiful sceneries, and dangerous unknown creatures. To delve into the lower layers of the abyss is to embark on what is essentially a suicide mission. Despite knowing this, do you have the resolve to continue? Made in Abyss was a remarkable series with better world building in 13 episodes than most longer shows have in their entire run. Combine this with Kevin Penkin's unique and outwardly score, and you have a recipe for a truly magical experience, filled with wonder, beauty, terror, and everything in between. However, even with these aspects, the thing that truly captivated me with this show was the themes of human nature and adventure it presented, as well as its emotional character core. Going into the film Dawn of the Deep Soul, I was more than excited to see how Nanachi and the gang were going to continue their journey throughout the fifth layer and what trials and tribulations they would have to overcome, and it did not disappoint. Today, without spoiling any major plot elements in the film, I hope to capture what makes Made in Abyss Dawn of the Deep Soul so amazing. The film begins immediately where the series left off, with our trio reaching the Garden of the Flowers of Fortitude in the fifth layer, an absolutely gorgeous plain filled with these pure white flowers as far as the eye could see. But beneath their beauty lies something much more terrifying, an insect that disguises itself as one of the flowers to deceive naive cave raiders as they pass by unknowingly and implant their larvae inside the brains. Once the host is infected, it's already too late. Their bodies serve as the perfect breeding ground for the insects as the vicious cycle of nature continues. In many ways, this initial scene serves as the perfect setup to remind us that while the pursuit of adventure can be exciting, thrilling, and even beautiful, the abyss is a deadly place, and you shouldn't ever forget that, because if you do, your journey could end in an instant. Rico and Reg have come a long way from when they started, but what faltered them in the series was their inexperience with dealing with the lower layers. Nanachi, on the other hand, while having that experience, was powerless to do anything to help the people around her. However, together the three make a powerful team, with Nanachi acting as the brains, Reg the brawn, and Rico the motivator. Together they must face their toughest challenge yet, Bondrewd, the Sovereign of Dawn. This film goes to many dark places and is an emotionally draining experience filled with horror and dread. But yet, there's still a sense of hopeless optimism throughout. Dawn of the Deep Soul presents this idea that no matter how bad things get or how dark the night is, the dawn will surely come. There will always be light at the end of the dark road. There has to be, but nothing would have prepared them for what's to come. For me personally, I think Nanachi is the best character in the entire series. Her backstory of Mitty was not only tragic but emotionally heartfelt. The pain and suffering she underwent with Bondrewd scarred her for life, and so having Nanachi tackle one of her biggest inner demons was the emotional core of the film for me. While many would say the highlight of the film were Pruska and Bondrewd, I think it's actually Nanachi's story and how she has to overcome her traumatic past. On the outside, Nanachi may act as the smart and stoic person she pretends to be, but deep down, she's actually a very kind soul who wants to help others. When talking to Reg, she reminisces about Mitty and says she needs to be good at cooking so that if she were ever to meet Mitty again, she could cook tasty food for her. All throughout their time living together, Nanachi has only ever gave Mitty tasteless food blocks, and the guilt she feels still resides within her. Nanachi has only ever wanted what was best for her dear friend, so even if there was the slightest chance of them meeting together again, Nanachi wants to be able to create precious memories together. It's this sense of hopeless optimism that's instilled throughout the film, that if you believe anything is possible in the abyss, then your adventure is never over. Nanachi's kindness isn't just displayed through her actions, however. Her subtle facial expressions throughout the film just adds that extra layer of charm to her and reminds us that beneath the strong facade Nanachi puts up, she's still a young girl at heart despite trying to hide it. Even something as simple as preparing a delicious meal to eat. The joy that radiates from her character is just so heartwarming to watch. However, all of this changes when the group finally encounters Bondrewd. Nanachi thought that she had mentally prepared herself for this meeting, but she was wrong. The moment he appears, Nanachi is frozen in place. The gravity of the situation takes hold of her and she can do nothing. It's this moment where I think Nanachi knew that she wasn't ready to fight Bondrewd and succumb to her fear again. The fear that he could at any moment take away the precious friends she had made. When our characters find out that it's impossible to access the 6th layer without having a personal white whistle, the journey seems to have come to an abrupt end. But Nanachi, being the kind and selfless person that she is, offers to make a deal with Bondrewd because she understands the way he thinks. In exchange of helping Rico and Reg access the 6th layer, Nanachi is willing to come back and work for the person that had caused her so much torment. The decision she makes isn't a light one either, and this is shown visually through how the scene is framed and directed. Bondrewd is an extravagant antagonist, and his mighty presence is displayed through his stature on screen. Bondrewd in this conversation is always framed above Nanachi with confident body language, showing us his total control of the scene and the conversation, while Nanachi on the other hand is sitting down and slumped over, almost too afraid to speak up. And when she does speak, the quivering of her eyes is the final conveyance of how afraid she really is of this person. It's subtle moments like these that not only make the character animation stand out, but tell a powerful story purely through its visuals without the need for dialogue. From only Nanachi's melancholic expression, we can see just how much she truly cares for Reg and Rico to make a decision she would otherwise hate. She wants to spare her precious friends from the cruelty of Bondrewd, and so wants to make a noble sacrifice for them by giving herself up. Unfortunately for her, this isn't enough for Bondrewd, as we later find out that he is a character willing to do anything to unlock the secrets of the Abyss. In a film that has shown to be immersively beautiful and terrifyingly dark, I think the most emotionally poignant scene of the film comes from when Rico and Nanachi discover Bondrewd's human experimentation lab. As Nanachi describes the horrific actions she partook in, deceiving and using unwanted children for Bondrewd experiments, a wave of sadness and guilt starts to envelop Nanachi as if she's reliving the same events over again. Slowly, her usual calm and stoic attitude crumbles as she begins to deeply reflect and regret her past actions. Nanachi was afraid of Bondrewd, and it's because of that fear that she gave in to work for him and did unspeakable acts of cruelty. All the lives of the innocent children that Bondrewd had used in his experiments, Nanachi feels just as responsible for their tragic deaths. She was complicit with his actions and did nothing to help them. The weight of the immense guilt that Nanachi had carried for so long crushes her and completely breaks down crying. It's why then, by the end of the film, when our characters have finally overcome their hardest obstacle yet, Nanachi isn't happy because they defeated Bondrewd, but rather feels a sense of relief. She no longer feels trapped in this hell that Bondrewd had created. Through her pain and continuous efforts, she is able to break free from his clutches, no longer chained to his way of life. She's found a new way to live, and it's through Reg and Rico that she finally regained her sense of adventure. Bondrewd in the film is an amazing antagonist, and I wouldn't call him an outright villain because he doesn't do horrible things out of personal spite, but rather because he truly believes that this is the correct way to do things. All the children he's ever used and experimented on, he never hated. In fact, in his own twisted way, he loved them in some aspects, remembering each and every one of their names. Now, I don't condone or excuse his actions in any way, but Bondrewd is a character that throughout the course of the film you begin to understand the way he thinks. In his eyes, the Abyss, for all its beauty and terror, is a wonderful place to be discovered. He wants to know everything about this place and is willing to do anything just to get his answers. In a lot of ways, he's similar to Rico. They both want to uncover the secrets of the Abyss and will do almost anything to get there. The difference, however, lies within their sense of compassion. Bondrewd only wants answers, and nothing else would satisfy him. Rico, however, throughout her journey has learned that the people she meets along the way are just as, if not more important to her than reaching the bottom of the Abyss. As cliche as it may be, Made in Abyss shows us that the destination isn't what's most important, but it's the journey to get there. Riko herself even says this to Pruska, that beyond answering the many questions she has about the abyss and what lies underneath, the truth is she just wants to keep having adventures with them.
でもね、変わらないことも一つだけあって、私、あの二人と一緒にずっと冒険がしていたいの。二人には内緒だよ。まるで目標がないみたいに聞こえちゃうもん。
In a film that adapts one of the darkest arcs of Made in Abyss, Pruska is the character that embodies the dawn behind the darkest night. She's the light at the end of the tunnel and captures the very essence of true adventure. Pruska was born in the depths of the abyss, a child born in true hell. You'd expect her life to be nothing but inconsequential, but it's through Bondrewd's mercy and kindness that she's able to live a happy and optimistic life in a place where sunlight could never reach. As a young girl, Pruska was always curious about her surroundings despite being in the depths of the fifth layer. She always wanted to know more. In her eyes, Bondrwed was nothing more but a caring father who taught her many skills and showed her places she otherwise couldn't reach on her own. So when she finally met Riko, the two instantly bonded over their shared sense of adventure. Riko wanted to know more about the abyss, while Pruska was excited to hear stories about the surface. Pruska wanted so badly to go on adventures with Riko and yearned for a time where they would go together, which is what makes the ending of the film so emotionally devastating. The two can never have that shared adventure they've always wanted. But it's not all lost. Through all the pain and suffering they've endured, through the darkest night, the dawn will always come. From Pruska's strong emotions, a white whistle is formed, and in some senses, Pruska will always be with Riko no matter what. Made in Abyss, Dawn of the Deep Soul serves as an absolutely fantastic sequel to the TV series and understands what made the original series so captivating. It's an emotionally draining experience filled with horrific events you couldn't have predicted, but more than that, it's the culmination of Nanachi's character arc and how she has to finally overcome her past. While it may be the darkest part of Made in Abyss, the overall theme of the film is much more hopeful and optimistic. It was truly an amazing experience, and I can't wait for the sequel to this series, whether it's another film or a season 2. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.